What's up, my angling friends? Welcome back to the channel, your go-to spot for all things fishing. Today, we're diving deep into the forecast for a day that promises to test our skills and patience. Friday, the 24th of January, 2026. You might think winter fishing is all about waiting for spring, but let me tell you, this day holds some intriguing possibilities. We've got some steady cold conditions coming our way, which means for the dedicated angler, there's a real chance to land some impressive catches. Stay tuned because I'm going to break down exactly what to expect and how to outsmart those winter-wise fish. All right, let's talk about what's biting and where to find them. Based on the conditions, we're focusing on some true winter warriors, pike, perch, and chub. First up, the pike, the freshwater king. In my experience, January is prime time for big pike, as they're often consolidating their energy for an ambush. You'll want to target deeper sections of canals and rivers, especially those areas with slower currents like eddies behind submerged structures or gentle glides. These cold-blooded predators will be conserving energy, so they're less likely to chase. For tackle, a heavy-duty spinning rod or a deadbait rod is your friend. My little trick for winter pike is to present a large, soft plastic lure or a dead bait, like a small seafish or even a mackerel section, agonizingly slowly on a ledger rig, keeping it low in the water column. Patience is key, friends. Next, the feisty perch. These striped warriors are active all year, and winter can bring some real specimens. Look for them in almost any lake, pond, canal, or river, but they're not too fond of fast-moving water. I'd advise focusing on deeper drop-offs, underwater features, and around snags where they can find cover and baitfish. For tackle, a light to medium spinning rod with a sensitive tip works wonders. Small jigs, drop-shot rigs with small worm imitations, or tiny shades retrieved slowly along the bottom are deadly. If you prefer bait, try a small maggot or worm presented on a simple ledger rig. Remember, the retrieve needs to be super slow, almost like you're not moving it at all. And let's not forget the versatile chub. These fish will feed all winter long and thrive in flowing water. You'll find them in rivers of all sizes and also in canals. On this colder day, I'd suggest looking for chub in areas with slightly reduced flow, such as river bends behind obstructions, or in deeper glides where they can hold position more easily without expending too much energy. A link ledger or a waggler setup with a sensitive float will serve you well. For bait, bread flake, cheese paste, or a cluster of maggots are hard to beat. Cast upstream and let your bait trundle naturally along the bottom, keeping your line tight to feel those subtle bites. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of the conditions that will shape our day. For Friday, the 24th of January 2026, in the UK weather. Expect a chilly day. Temperatures in many parts of the UK, especially areas like Dumfries and Galloway, will hover between 32 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 0 degrees Celsius, and 37 degrees Fahrenheit, around 3 degrees Celsius. You might encounter some light rain during the day, with a 20% chance of both rain and snow at night. The wind will be coming from the south to west at a light to moderate strength of around 4 Beaufort or 5 miles per hour. This light southerly component might bring a tiny whisper of warmth, but it's largely going to be a cold, damp day. The atmospheric pressure, according to my research, has fallen slightly since midnight, but is expected to remain steady for the next 6 hours at around 30.06 inches of mercury. A steady barometer after a slight drop can mean a more consistent, though not necessarily frantic, bite as fish adapt to the stable pressure. Water temperature. As is typical for late January in the UK, water temperatures will be cold. Expect freshwater bodies to be in the range of around 4 to 10 degrees Celsius, that's about 39 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, with some coastal sea areas potentially a touch warmer, up to 11 degrees Celsius. In these cold conditions, fish metabolism slows down significantly. They're not going to be chasing baits aggressively, so slow presentations and readily available food sources are paramount. This low water temperature pushes fish to deeper, more stable areas where temperatures are marginally higher and less prone to fluctuation. Moon phase. On this 24th of January, we're in a waxing crescent phase. The moon is about 5 to 6 days old with roughly 32 to 34% illumination. Now some old-school anglers swear by moon phases, and while a waxing crescent isn't typically hailed as a major bite time, the period around the new moon and the early waxing crescent can sometimes stimulate activity as the moon's influence on tides and feeding patterns begins to grow again. The major bite times predicted are between 3:52 a.m. and 5:52 a.m. and again from 4:06 p.m. to 6:06 p.m. Overall fish activity, considering the cold air and water temperatures, the light rain, the steady after a fall atmospheric pressure, and the waxing crescent moon, my overall prognosis for fishing activity on the 24th of January is capricious to moderate. Fish will be conserving energy, seeking deeper, warmer, and more sheltered areas. Success will largely depend on extreme patience, subtle presentations, and finding those key holding spots. It's not going to be a day for heroics, but for those who understand winter tactics, there's absolutely a reward to be had. So, my friends, that's the lowdown for Friday, the 24th of January. Dress incredibly warm, stay safe out there, and remember to respect the fish. I wish you all tight lines, and as we say, ni foster, ni cheshui, no tail, no scales. If you managed to brave the elements, tell me in the comments, what were you targeting, and did you land anything? What are your plans for fishing in this challenging weather? Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more forecasts and angling adventures. Until next time, keep those lines wet